Let's take a look at how to do question number 7. What are the key facts in this problem? We need to write an equation, slope-intercept form, passes through a given point, and parallel to the graph of the equation. What is slope-intercept form? That is y equals mx plus b. So if this equation has to be parallel, that means the equation y equals 3x plus 2, the only thing I need to look for is the slope. In any problem we do in this section, the main thing that we need to look for is the slope. So in this equation, the slope is 3, so I'm going to use 3 because it's parallel. It has to be the same, so I know my equation is going to start off as y equals 3x plus b, and then I want to find out what b equals. In order to do that, I have to use the points that are given to me in the problem here and label that x and that y. So now that I've labeled my points x, y, 1, 3, I need to substitute this information into my equation for the x and for the y. So what's y equal? Y is 3, so I substitute 3 equals 3. I substitute what x equals 1 plus b. Now I just substitute, I should say, and solve for b. I got 3 equals 3 times 1 is 3 plus b. I want to get the b by itself. Minus 3 to both sides. 3 minus 3 is 0. These cancel out. And I get b equals 0. And then I just plug it back into that equation. So my final equation would be y equals 3x plus 0. But because this is a plus 0, I really don't need to write it. I can write my final equation as y equals 3x. Let's take a look at number 20. In this equation, the main facts are I need to find an equation, slope-intercept form, passes through a point, and is perpendicular. So in this equation, slope-intercept form, again, y equals mx plus b, I'm going to look at, the only thing that I always look at is the slope. In this equation, the slope is 1/2. So I'm going to record that over here. Slope is 1/2. But because I'm looking for perpendicular, I have to flip it to make it 2/1 and change the sign. So if it was positive in the beginning, it becomes negative. So now I'm halfway done with my problem. I could write down y equals negative 2x plus b, and I'm going to come back and solve for b. So when I write y equals negative 2x plus blank, I'm going to put my final answer in the blank. So what do I do first? Just like the other problem. I label my points, x, y, and substitute. Substitute these points into that equation. So I'm going to get, instead of putting y, I'm going to put 3 equals negative 2, x equals negative 2, plus b. And go ahead and solve. I have 3 equals negative 2 times negative 2 is 4, plus b. Solve for b. So that means I got a minus 4 to both sides. And I get negative 1 equals b. So I take this number and put it into my blank and get negative 1. So my final equation will be y equals negative 2x. Because I have a plus and a negative, that becomes minus 1. So my final equation is y equals negative 2x minus 1. So the thing I need to know in this problem and to remember is if I'm looking for perpendicular lines, you need to find the slope and flip it, and then take the opposite side. Let's take a look at question number 22. Looking at this question, how it is right now, I need to get the y by itself. I need to change it into y equals mx plus b before I find out what is perpendicular. I'm just going to show you the first steps on how to change a problem back to y equals mx plus b. So when I start with the problem x minus 2y equals 7, I need to get the y by itself, so I need to minus x to both sides. Those cancel. I get negative 2y equals negative x plus 7. Now I need to divide both sides by negative 2. Those cancel, and I get y equals negative x over negative 2 is a positive 1/2 x. And then 7 over negative 2 is 7/2. So now I have my equation in slope-intercept form. And if I want to look for a line that is perpendicular, again, I always look for the slope. Since it is 1/2, I'm going to flip it to be 2 over 1. If it was positive, now it becomes negative. So now I'm ready to solve the equation and find a line that is perpendicular. Let's take a look at this section. How do I find out if a line is parallel, perpendicular, or neither? Looking at this equation right here, again, I only need to look at the slopes. In this equation, slope is 1. This one is negative 1. And I know if I multiply the slopes and I get negative 1 as an answer, it's perpendicular. Number 14, again, I only need to look at the slopes. They're both 3/4, so they are parallel. Number 15, I can't find out what it is right now because both equations are not in slope-intercept form. I need to change this equation to slope-intercept form. So if I have 2x plus y equals 7, I need to get the y by itself, so I need a minus 2x to both sides. And when I do that, I have y equals negative 2x plus 7. And now I can compare my two equations. The slope here is negative 2. The slope here is negative 2. So both equations are parallel.